What's up, ladies and gentlemen? James Williams, the one and only Stankonia ambassador, and I'm back. And at this point in time, I'm just going to say this to you. The world is already upside down. In fact, if I could flip myself upside down on this screen and talk to you for the rest of this damn video, and I might just do that, that's probably what I'm going to do because the world is upside down. So I continue to dig and dig and dig and dig and dig just to see, because I want to see for myself. And bro, these people have been bragging about this for years about how they've gene edited the cows. And so there's been all this conversation about the hamburger meat being human meat and all the rest of this, and how you can have a meat burger that tastes like your favorite celebrity. And bro, when I tell you, listen to me when I say this to you, that this is insanity in motion. I'm gonna get into it real quick. I'm not gonna take a long time to cover it because I'm gonna let people speak for themselves. I'm gonna start off by showing you an article, and so you'll understand. So when we start talking about gene editing, right? In fact, let's just use all the tools that the globalists have given us. Let's just use their tools. Let's just get a good definition of gene editing real quick. I'll be right back. Share screen. All right, close that. What is gene editing? Because people talk about these things. They say, oh, they gene edited this, they did that, but nobody really goes on a deep dive to define it. I want to know what it actually means. This is what real research is. What is gene editing in context? To this. And I'm going to let it read the first part. Matter of fact, let's let it read what I asked it.
Bill Gates has been actively involved in promoting alternatives to traditional livestock farming, focusing on reducing the environmental impact of meat production. His efforts encompass both genetically modified, GMOs, and lab grown meat. GMO cows. Gates has supported genetic engineering initiatives aimed at creating more sustainable livestock. For example, the FDA recently approved gene edited cows that have shorter hair, making them more heat tolerant and efficient in warmer climates. This genetic trait was introduced through a streamlined regulatory process, as the modifications could have been achieved through traditional breeding methods, but much more slowly. 9 source. Lab grown and plant based meat. Bill Gates has also heavily invested in lab grown and plant based meat companies such as Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat. These companies aim to provide protein alternatives that mimic the taste and texture of beef without the associated environmental impacts. Gates advocates for rich nations to shift entirely to synthetic beef to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from livestock. He believes that while cultural and economic factors may slow adoption in poorer countries, developed nations can lead the way in embracing these sustainable food sources. 10 knife source.
All right, so let's be clear. The man believes that you need to eat lab grown meat. The man has funded the genetic modification of cows. And the cover for it is that it gave the cows shorter hair so they could be in warmer environments. But there were already breeds of cows that were designed to be in warmer environments. So don't be a damn fool and believe for any moment in time that that was absolutely necessary, because it wasn't necessary whatsoever. At all. Wasn't necessary. So now that we've established that, look at the collar. My shirt is all messed up. Gotta do something about that. Now that we've established we established that. Let's specifically establish what gene editing is. I'm sorry. All right, we're almost there. Let's see what she got to say.
Gene editing is a precise form of genetic modification that involves directly altering the DNA sequence of an organism. This technology allows scientists to add, remove, or change specific genes within an organism's genome.
All right, point blank, period. It's changing the damn animal. Point blank, period. Change it what God made it to be to whatever the hell you think it need to be. When I tell you that this lizard man has the biggest God complex there is, it's totally insane. And considering the fact that when you go back after video after video after video, you come to the realization that he was pretty much handed this money. Same thing with Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, pretty much just handed life, whatever it is, and it turned it into Facebook. And so there's this level of respect for these people based on some level of intelligence that does not exist. I mean, they're just not that damn intelligent. And it's disturbing. Quite frankly, it's very disturbing. And then they go on to do stuff like this. They go on to brag about it in their little videos and their promos. And I mean, it's completely insane. It's completely and totally insane.
This is a true story. It's about good people doing great things and how that can lead to even greater things. And it all started with a Scottish cow. Not that type of cow. This type. And a partnership between Professor Morodi and Professor Coffee.
Professor Morodi and Professor Coffee.
Together, they created a program that identified desirable traits in cows and then matched them with other breeds to produce more milk.
Basically, it's a dating app for cows.
And so they pitched it as it's a dating app for cows. No, mother fluffer. It's not a dating app for cows. No, mother fluffer. You are playing God and you're mixing things together that shouldn't be mixed together to create more milk. Now, I don't know if you've had any GMO milk. I don't drink milk, but I don't know, maybe in my coffee I've had some kind of milk spilled in there or something. But all I know is this. I don't want your damn GMO milk. I don't want your damn cow meat that you done played God with. I don't need it. It's not necessary. I don't need it. The cow that I've been getting my food from is just fine the way it is. And the craziest thing is all this is about CO2 emissions. That's what it's all about. But when you go back and listen to what the people have to say, I'm just going to go back and find a video. The boy saying what he going to say because he said so boldly that is totally and utterly ridiculous. When you go and listen to what the man had to say, well, I want you to listen.
To meet a new constraint, and that constraint has to do with CO2. CO2 is warming the planet, and
now, mind you, I said before in the last video, yo behind breathe out CO2.
The effects on the weather, perhaps worse, the indirect effects in that the natural ecosystem.
And it's literally, I mean, the science is literally the opposite of what this man is saying. But it's so like it's fact.
So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see an increase of about 1.3.
Hold on, because he said it so smooth. Let me bring it back. Listen to what he says now.
Vaccines, health has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see is actually a very straightforward one. If you sum up the CO2.
So he said if we do a good job, we can lower the population by 10 or 15%. context for what I'm showing you. Now let's go back to the scientists and what they're talking about. Remember, they pitch it as it's a dating app for cows. There ain't no damn dating app.
The scientists in Scotland then partnered with scientists in Kenya, where this research was adapted to breed their own dairy cows for farmers like Josephine.
To breed their own dairy cows. But why did they show you this?
The scientists in Scotland then partnered with scientists in Kenya, where this research was adapted to breed their own dairy cows for farmers like Josephine. Seen here with Mukuni, who churns out 16 liters a day. Wait, that's twice as much as her previous cow. Chai! Now
this cow produces twice as much as the previous cow in milk. Twice as much. And that's supposed to be a great thing. So you took something and supercharged it. Never mind what the effects of the milk are. You don't hear nothing about the testing of the milk. You ain't heard nothing. And then they hand it to these people in Africa. Like, yeah, we're going to give you a GMO cow. We're going to give you, we're going to mess with the genes. We're going to splice the genes of these cows. And we're going to give you this GMO milk. That's what you're looking at, guys. That's what you're facing. And the amazing thing about it is these people just say it plain as day, make it public right in front of your face so you can come into agreement with it. If you don't say, I don't want none of that, I don't want none of that, they just give it to you. So now if you're out there eating Impossible burgers, the fake meat burgers, all that comes from this one dude. That's his brainchild. So if you eating Impossible burger, you eating a Billy Gates burger. And you heard what he said. I'll be clear with you. You heard what the man said, but you eating his food. You're drinking his milk. You're eating his fruit. His mosquitoes are biting you. But he said what his intentions are. And that's the thing that gets me about this situation. Like a literal pot-belly psychopath tells the whole world, I want to kill you all. Because that's what he is, a pot-belly psychopath. Tells the world that he wants to kill everybody. And the thing that kills me about him is he don't even have a beer belly. Like, you know, men have a beer belly. They've been drinking beer. There's men whose testosterone levels got low and they picked up weight, but you still see the muscle mass under there. You still see that muscle mass, that manly muscle mass, the bone structure. Man, when you look at this dude, he's just a pot-belly lizard person demon. I mean, look at him.
That gets emitted, the natural ecosystems can't adjust to these rapid changes, and so you get ecosystem collapses. This equation has four on these back from high school algebra, but 0.8 billion people, health services, we can lower that by.
Look at him, little pot-belly demon. Not a masculine bone in his body. Never fell out of a tree. Never had a fight. Probably never rode a damn bike in his whole life. But he gets to decide what you eat, where you go, what you drink, and how long you live. And quite frankly, man, it just makes me want to scream. I don't know if it makes you want to scream, but it makes me want to scream. Pot-belly lizard. Just on the neck of the entire humanity because he got some fake money. In fact, he got your damn money. Your tax money being given to him. It's insane. Let's get back to the video because I want you to see something else. So remember, pot-belly lizard person is saying that he wants to control CO2, right?
Extra milk means extra income. And extra income can go towards things like education. Speaking of education, at this school in South Africa.
Now I want you to see this. Remember, in context, pot-belly lizard man says they wants to lower CO2. So he introduces a toilet, but this toilet is an incinerator toilet. So you poop in the toilet and then it incinerates the poop. Let me ask you just a question. If you burn fecal matter, human feces, what does it generate? Just what does it generate?
A game
CO2.
changing toilet gave kids like Ompile here a clean and safe place to go, which in turn led to an 80% drop in absentee rates. Oh, sorry. And do you know the best part? They're made right here at this factory in Johannesburg. And do you know what else? They plan to distribute these sewerless toilets all across Africa.
Now, you know what pissed me off? I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm going to talk to some black people right now. You know what pissed me off? You see, you turn on the news, you watch TV and be like, the white man is racist. The white man did this to me. The white man shot this black person. The white man did this. When this lizard is doing more damage to your people than any white person you can find anywhere. Guess who lined up to get this the most? Psst. And guess who was behind it? But you won't sit there and argue with some dude up the street because he got a rebel flag. Man, mother fluff his flag. This is what you need to be paying attention to. This the one that's doing you dirty. And then he just does it in the open. They be like, oh, the white man is hurting and harming me. I'm not an American. The white man did this. But there you go right there. That's what you need to be worrying about. Leave your neighbor alone. Leave the dude around the corner alone. Leave the dude in the other state alone. You need to be paying attention to this dude right here. You need to put some time and energy in this dude right here, because this the one. This the one. This the one right here.
The tech from these toilets came from China via an initiative implemented by Professor Li Zifu. Here's one installed in... Psst, abeg, can you help me out here, Professor?
黄山店村，
谢谢。
不客气。
Speaking of reinvention, at this hospital in India, Arti Kumar, along with a team of medical experts, are championing a newborn skin-to-skin technique.
I ain't figured this one out yet. A newborn skin-to-skin technique. I ain't figured this one out yet. But I know it's wicked. Because it's presented like when a newborn is born, they put on their mother's chest and they have skin-to-skin contact. You know, normally when a newborn is born, they wrap the newborn in this cloth, and then the newborn is given to their mother, right? Which, quite frankly, prior to babies being born in a hospital, I'm pretty sure that midwives would clean the baby off and just give the baby to their mom, and the baby would be warm from their mother's body temperature. And so this may just be an undoing of what was done before. I'm not sure. I'm going to look into this one even more. But here's what I know. Anything that comes out of this man's camp is evil. Anything that he promotes is designed to destroy you. Now, how is the question? So I'm not sure about this. There's nurses out here in this audience. Talk to me. Y'all know I could be wrong, but here's what I know for a fact. Anything that comes out of this man camp is designed to destroy you. It ain't designed to make nothing better in your life. You don't have a track record of it. It's just not there. So you need to be skeptical of anything. Anything. And I think the next part kind of gets into it and explains it, because they bounce a ball to New Orleans and they talk about helping with childbirths in my city.
Inspired by kangaroos. This method has decreased infant mortality by an additional 25%, giving more kids the chance to grow up and be anything they want to be. What do you want to be?
Cricketer.
And you?
Cricketer.
Let me guess.
Cricketer.
Cricketer?
Doctor.
Notice what this propaganda is targeting too. All this propaganda is targeting third world countries. Every ounce of it. the little bit of propaganda that they swing back in the direction of the United States goes to one of the largest minority cities in the United States that had the largest minority home ownership in the United States before Hurricane Katrina, and it got all wiped out. But nonetheless, I'm dumb. I don't know that.
Yeah, of the cricket team.
Immediate kangaroo care is now recommended by the WHO and will be implemented around the world.
Recommended by who? Recommended by who? Recommended by who? Literally, I mean that both ways. Recommended by who? Who the hell is they to recommend a damn thing? But recommended by who? Let me keep on going.
Including hospitals in the US, where youth force NOLA graduates like Sam's Joseph here will have new ways to look after mothers and their newborns. So while we can't...
So what's the new way to look after the mother and her newborn? I mean, what's the new way? That might needs to be looked at a lot more. And I am going to look at it a lot more, because what's the new way? Putting the baby on the mother's skin? Or, I mean, what is the transition from this? What's the transition from this to this?
Like Sam's Joseph here will have new ways to look after mothers and their newborns. So while we can't say that babies in the US are directly benefiting from Scottish cows, we can say our thousands of partners are doing amazing things. Because when you remove the barriers that prevent one person from doing what they aspire to do, who knows what the possibilities are? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, partners of human potential.
I will try and figure it out. Next.
Mispredicted that, and I'm reformed.
Do you think AI will play a role in climate action?
Well, absolutely, because our ability to model complex phenomena, the AIs are helping a lot with that. So, for example, looking at the genetics of cows and saying, hey, some cows emit a lot of methane and some emit very, very little. And some cows survive in hot weather very well and some do not. And then along with our ability to edit genes, one of the most dramatic source of emissions that at one time I wasn't sure the path forward. Now we can see either making the cows better or various techniques where they create meat without the cow. So the power of
create meat without the cow. I just want you guys to hear what the man's saying.
AI to look at those genes and see the patterns. Even the weather modeling piece, now AI is being applied to that, both the long term, which is, kind of those climate models, but say telling a farmer in Africa, based on the weather, should they go ahead and plant now, or is it going to be so dry? They used to always plant at the first rain, but if you know that's anomalous, then you shouldn't plant. And so the AIs are really starting.
All right, let's break the spell. Now, the man sounds reasonable, but again, you have to break the spell. Let's go back to what the man really
10 or 15%. But there's 0.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But
say it again.
Great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.